Hey guys, today we're going to be talking about our pro coaching tip number three. Today, the tip is about balance. Now, balance may sound like equity or it may sound like things being 50-50, or it may sound like that, but balance is a little bit different. Balance is not static. Balance is more of a trade-off. You can think of it as an equation if you guys are algebra fans, which obviously everybody is. uh, it's both sides have to equal off. Now the problem is that in most of our lives we're not very balanced. We may see our financial wealth as being the most important thing, so we may trade off some time with our family, trade off some time on our health, trade off some attention to things that really are also important so that we can chase our finances. If we haven't done it personally, we probably know someone who has. It's a pretty common thing. So, when we're talking about balance, what we're really talking about is trying to find a way, as life kind of shifts and changes, we're trying to find a way to shift and change along with it so that we can keep that equilibrium. Equilibrium is probably a good word to consider when you think about balance, because the idea is you're not going to have everything fit the right way all the time, and that means we're going to have to shift. So one of the main things, or probably the first thing you want to do in this equation, is to know yourself. That's a pretty big deal. The first part of knowing yourself is understanding what your values, your principles are, the things that are most important to you. In our previous example of spending time working or spending time trying to get your finances, with the trade off of family life or happiness or health, if you know that what's most important to you is your family, then obviously it doesn't make as much sense to trade from that to gain financial wealth. The other piece is going to be about kind of understanding what your circumstances are, because what you really don't want to do is go run after one thing, not really understanding what it cost you. So you want to have a really good idea in your life period about what it is that you're really looking for, what it is that you're actually chasing, and what available times and things you have to take it from. So when you want to achieve balance, you want to try to understand first off moderation, because moderation is going to be a really big thing. You can't do everything all the time at the same time. Uh, that's another one of the things we will typically take away from to chase something. We'll take it away from things like sleep, or things like rest, or things like enjoyment, that sort of thing. So we want to make sure that when we're talking about balance, that we know ourselves, we know who we are, we know what we want, we know what's important to us, and then on the flip side of that, what we want to make sure of is that we're also aware, conscious of whatever else it is in our lives that actually is important. And then that way we can make sure we know where we're actually pulling that extra time from. When it comes to balance, one of the biggest things, or two of the biggest things you'll see that we pull away from, are going to be time and attention. So we'll take away time from things that are important, or our attention away from what's important. Time and attention are kind of the revenue that we use when we talk about balance. So the idea is understanding who you are, what you have in store, and what you're spending each time you make a choice to be balanced or imbalanced in one way or the other. It really makes you conscious of it. Now, the other piece is, which places can you use this balance formula or this balance framework? So there are typically what we consider seven dimensions of life, or aspects of life, where it's important to look at each one of these when you consider your balance. Uh, Give or take one or two, because people disagree about them, but in general, figure it out which ones fit for you. The first, probably the easiest that people think about, is physical health. Uh, Physical health, obviously, a lot of times what we'll do is, because we are working from home or we put in extra hours, we'll stay at the job versus going to the gym. We'll eat different than we would if we had more time on our hands to prepare meals. So physical health is one of the places where we can actually take time and attention from. Your intellectual well-being. A lot of times as human beings, we need purpose, we need growth, we need to do something that sparks our minds, that make our minds feel. Our brains are mostly fat, but it works the same as a muscle. The more you use it, the better it works. So in that same way, we want to worry about our intellectual health, our environmental health. Uh, this is big, guys, because this means everything from our household environment to our neighborhood to our nation to our world. The environment we live in changes a lot of things. And because of that, you want to make sure we don't have control over all of it, but the portion of it that we can carve out for ourselves to match and fit what we're looking for, that helps us to not have to spend our time draining away from that resource. Um, Typically, it's vocational career uh, pursuit or health or well-being, your job, your career, what it is that you're actually chasing. Usually it's the place where your money comes from, but in general it's going to mean what you want to do for your career. What do you want to spend your time with vocationally? That's obviously one of the major ones that we're all chasing after, because that is how we pay our bills. There's social health, your relationships with other people. In a lot of cases, I've known some really, really well paid people who are losing their families. They're losing relationships with their children, with their spouses, because they are chasing that last one, that vocation. So it's a case where when we start talking about social health, never think that that one's not important. Uh, People only have so much that they can give before, if you're not giving back, they'll let go. Our next one is going to be our spiritual well-being, and this is one where people are dependent on who you are and what you think and how you've grown up. People call this a lot of different things. Uh, here's what I would say: if you don't believe that there's anything bigger and or greater than you, you're gonna struggle. You're gonna struggle, just because of the fact that, think about how imperfect you are. Think about how many times you feel like you fall short, and then imagine everything, everything being focused on how well you can do it, how well you can make things go. For me, I like to think that I'm a pretty good guy. I like to think that I'm really good at a bunch of stuff, but there are some things I just suck at. I am just horrible at. That being said, I love the idea of being able to say there's something bigger than me. There's some purpose outside of me getting what I want. And that allows me, just in a very, very selfish way, to say it's not all about me. And since it's not all about me, I actually have a chance. Now, uh, this is going to take practice, just like every one of these tips is going to take practice. But let me suggest you reach out to me if you have questions, free of charge. You can find me at bethinklive.com, www.bethitlink. Nope, that was wrong. Bethinklive.com, www.bethinklive.com. All right, thanks, guys. See you next time.